Sometimes life keeps running away from us. We all experience stress in different ways. Some deal with it better than others, and I guess I am others. My stress tolerance has always been quite low. Even as a kid, I used to lie to my parents, telling them I'm sick even though all I was mentally drained. But how do you explain that as a 5-year-old? Stress comes in all different forms. The fun stuff, going out with your friends or starting a new project, can also cause stress. Some people run on socializing, others fuel themselves up while being alone. I used to be so upset with myself on how stressed I am, knowing that a lot of social events coming up in a short amount of time. It's gonna be fun, why am I stressing out, went through my head. I learned how to accept that I love being around people and still will feel tired afterwards. I learned setting boundaries, saying no, and making priorities and space for the things that are important to me and that make me feel good, while skipping things that are just not worth my energy. Obviously, there are some things you still have to do, and I still have not perfected learning all of these things. There was a time in my life where food caused the most of my stress and anxiety. What started with a supposedly healthy diet and the wish of losing a few pounds ended not only in fearing food, but also in a total lack of my social life, and, even worse, fully losing myself. Please always remember that if a quotation marks healthy diet causes you stress, then it might not be healthy for you. And if a flat stomach requires missing out on this amazing opportunity we have called life, then it might also not be for you. The past weeks have been packed with exams, assignments, weddings, birthdays, work, road trips, and my general urge to enjoy the summer. And I made it. But I know that if I was still actively struggling with my eating disorder, like I was 3 years ago, I couldn't have. This time around I realized that having pesto pasta 3 days in a row is not the enemy. It's your friend when time is rare. It sounds horrible, but in the past I really liked having busy days because I didn't have much time to eat then. And still I was constantly thinking about food only.
Oh my god, this, guys, is like the first chocolate croissant since I turned vegan, so since like 5 years or so.
Now I realize the importance of fueling my body in exactly those times. I pack snacks in case I get hungry. I try to never skip breakfast, because I know I will binge on a dozen things later on if I do. And I have bread, pasta and couscous or pre-packaged meals several times a day. I still feel my best when I fuel my body properly, and yes, that does include so-called healthier foods such as fruits, vegetables, legumes, tofu and more. Food is some form of self-care, mentally and physically, to me at least. But we should focus way more on adding things instead of taking stuff away and restrict. I want the pasta just as much as some roasted vegetables and tofu. They are equal. The carbs in the pasta give me energy, the protein in the tofu keeps me full for longer, and the vegetables give me the nutrients I need. Oh, and the piece of chocolate afterwards just makes me happy. Always ask yourself, what do I want and what do I need? And the cool thing about you being your own person is that you don't even have to choose. You can eat whatever you want and whatever you need. You can have a green smoothie as a side drink for a Burger King meal. Let's talk about intermittent fasting. I've tried this trend several times, always with the outcome of slipping back into old restrictive behaviors. This is highly individual, and while it might work perfectly for others, skipping breakfast makes me binge later on. Talking about breakfast, these brownie batter microwaved oats are probably the most delicious thing on this planet, and I'm gonna link the recipe down below for you guys. So, experiencing some form of binge eating is scary, especially as someone who built all their self-esteem around how little they would eat. But it is a part of recovery to a certain extent. Please don't get me wrong here, if you have proper issues with binge eating, that's a whole different story. Binging in recovery shows you two things. First, that you should be enormously proud of yourself for letting go of the voice that has forbidden you so many different things in the past. But then, on the other hand, it also shows you that you still have a long way to go. Most of the time, these types of binges arise and develop out of still restricting in the first place. What we have to accept is that we are not at the destination, yet so much further than we've been before. The bag of crisps you ate all by yourself is not the solution yet, but it is a part of the way. It's neither good or bad, all it is a package of crisps. Okay, so me calling this video vegan meals for stressful times and then cooking some ottolenghi meals might be a little confusing to some. Cooking is one thing in my daily life that really helps me relax. Finding what de-stresses you in a society where so many people are sharing their lives and routines online is hard. It sometimes seems like yoga, so-called hot go walks with a cup of iced coffee, and journaling in the woods is the only presentable way of calming down and doing something good for your mentality. And these things are great and I love all of them, but sometimes all I want to do is lay down and watch Netflix. High level of productivity is what is mostly shown on social media. And as much as it encourages, it can also bring us down sometimes. Some might use their breaks to actively work on themselves, but doing nothing can be just as productive. All I want to say is that it's okay to take actual breaks, without walking, getting a coffee, doing yoga, journaling, and also without cooking. When you have so much else going on, let food be your steadiness in life, not another burden. I love cooking and it calms me down, but if it's the opposite for you, then having packaged ramen a week straight is also fine. Some things are out of our hands. We can't reschedule our exams, a friend's wedding, or an important work meeting, but you can decide whether you want the food you eat to be another obstacle or simply the nourishment that keeps you going through stressful times.